This video is sponsored by Alpha Clash.
It's another insane day in the world of Magic the Gathering. We have multiple legal issues being brought up with the One Ring from the Lord of the Rings. On top of that, people are raging out about the new secret lair that Wizards of the Coast has just announced. And that's not even everything we're going to talk about today.
Magic.
History.
I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another juicy installment of Mega Magic News. Once again, surprise, surprise, things are going absolutely crazy out in the wild lands of Magic the Gathering. So let's dive in, starting with the legal insanity that's surrounding the One Ring and Lord of the Rings overall, because this is unlike anything we have ever seen in Magic's history by a long shot. Wizards has tried gimmicks in the past, and make no mistake, the One Ring is a gimmick, but a very powerful one. In the past, the gimmicks didn't really hit that hard. They were somewhat of a frenzy. You know, we saw things like the masterpieces. We saw with Zendikar where they went ancient treasures. We put black lotuses in the pack. That was genuinely hype, but that was hype for people who are already a part of Magic. This hype has expanded way out beyond the realms of regular Magic the Gathering. Not only is the normal world of Magic just going, let me get it, but people from outside, sports card sellers, collectors are just coming and bam, bam, bam. Lord of the Rings enthusiasts, huge streamers are sitting there going, yo, I'm gonna dump $500,000 on Lord of the Ring collector boosters. Now, whether they're actually gonna dump that much remains to be seen, but that day, they literally had some assistant going out, coming back with armloads of collector boosters, everything they could buy up in the area. So this is literally a phenomenon unlike anything we've ever seen. Wizards of the Coast has created the Willy Wonka golden ticket scenario. There's so much information flying around there that it's almost impossible to be 100% sure what is accurate. But there are a few legal issues that are being brought up, and one of them actually is being discussed here in my home country of Canada, and that's because it's being put forth that the entirety of the concept of selling this One Ring, these collector boosters, all of it might actually be illegal here in Canada. And it's not actually a crazy position to take. Over in America and other countries, you guys have completely different setups for lotteries and giveaways. But in Canada, we have some really, really strange laws where you're not actually just allowed to do giveaways. You can't have that. You can't just have a lottery. The only people who are allowed to run lotteries in Canada are the government. So that you can buy scratch tickets from us or whatever. But everything else is like, we have very strict rules. So, as in most cases, we have the most hilarious workarounds where you go, well, you can't have giveaways, but you do have giveaways. How does it work? Well, for example, on the smallest scale, you know how they would have, I don't even know if they do this anymore, but you go and you buy a bag of chips and there'd be a little card inside that says, you want a free extra bag of chips. Man, I feel like a dinosaur talking about this, but that's how it works. You get a little thing under your pull can for your pop that says you get a free pop, right? But in Canada, they weren't allowed to just do that. So they had to literally put a skill testing question on every little insert. It doesn't matter if you win something in Canada that's worth like 5 cents or $5 billion. It can't just be a giveaway. It has to be a contest of skill. And that means to get the prize, you have to answer a skill testing question. Now that skill testing question can be incredibly simple. What's 1 + 2 times 2, right? Like super, super simple stuff that virtually anybody can do. We don't actually have like genuinely skill testing questions. So you have a scenario where by the Canadian definition of things, it may turn out that by creating the One Ring, Wizards of the Coast knew they were creating an ultimate collectible, right? They obviously, as much as they pretend like the secondary market isn't a major driver of what they do, we all know that it is. So there is definitely an argument to be made that, they're literally putting this huge expensive item into these packs. You buy a pack, you have a chance of getting this lottery level item. Now, obviously as well, we're dealing with a whole bunch of different levels. You can get around the Canada stuff simply with a skill testing question. So is it against the law? Who knows? What would happen if it actually turned out that it was? Probably not that much, right? First of all, if nobody got the One Ring in Canada, and remember, we're small. Canada, in terms of like worldwide size, we're teeny tiny. There's only like 25 million of us or something, right? Compared to America, we're 1/10 the size of that country. So the chances of the One Ring even being opened here is really, really slim. But it is fascinating to think about the fact that it could be considered illegal here. And if it gets opened somewhere else and the government found out about it, more than likely what would happen is Hasbro would probably just be like, you're getting some kind of fine. I've never heard of anybody really getting punished for any kind of giveaway that didn't involve, like, you remember the McDonald's giveaways where apparently you couldn't actually win because the mob was stealing the pieces? That's the kind of stuff the government's going to come down on. But as far as I understand with this, it's an interesting discussion from a legal standpoint, but ultimately it's not really going to be anything. But it just shows how much the One Ring has warped everything around it in terms of discussion. Now, the next legal issue I want to talk about is a little more hazy. This has to do with Amazon and ordering the collector boosters online. So people have placed orders for the collector booster boxes from Amazon. They're now getting emails saying, yo, there's a delay. Do you want to A, cancel your order, or B, leave it and wait for it to come in? Now, the problem here is that we don't know exactly what's going on. There's a bunch of information out there, and it's not clear whether Wizards of the Coast has created a second print run of these collector boosters. So what happens is usually Wizards of the Coast will trickle out the supply at first because we're like ravenous dogs. So we all run in, grab as much as we can, and then they just kind of dump more. It's always choked off at the beginning. But with the Lord of the Rings stuff, there has been such an outsized demand and insanity that it's actually possible that Wizards of the Coast has run out of that product and is literally printing more. But if they print more, it can't possibly have the One Ring in it, right? That situation would be impossible. So if it turns out that a second print run is being made and it's going to be sold through Amazon, and you chose not to cancel your order, and you're given one of these new booster boxes, you ordered a box that could give you the One Ring. Now you're getting a box that couldn't get you the One Ring. Now, an additional thing we have to layer into this is the fact that Wizards of the Coast has created an entirely different set of collector boosters based off the old animated Lord of the Rings as well. So when you bring that into the mix, it's unclear 100% whether we're dealing with a situation where there are going to be boxes that were advertised as a possibility of containing the ring and are reprints of the first run, right? So they've done more printings of the first run, not this Bakshi print run that is the animated version. I have to admit, Wizards has done a wonderful job of making everything so complicated that when I try and untangle everything, I cannot be 100% sure which situation we're dealing with. So I don't know 100%. So just be aware when you're dealing with your Amazon orders, anybody who's got one of those and they go, okay, don't cancel it, hold on, you might actually get another printing. Again, this is a situation where will it lead to any kind of legal outcome? Who knows? It could, though, in terms of obviously false advertising, and people have jumped on Magic the Gathering over this stuff before. Remember the Mythic Edition debacle with the class action lawsuit, right? That is, I think it might still be working its way through the courts. It takes a long time to do this step-by-step stuff. Now, the One Ring is creating such a frenzy overall, not just this legal stuff, but in funny sideways. If you go over on Twitter, it has the trending stuff that's going on the side, and it says the One Ring, right? Because it picks trends for you. So for me, it's going to have stuff based on Magic, but it doesn't know how to classify the One Ring. So it's under fashion and beauty, and I found that particularly amusing. Now, my friends, let us turn to the anger that is surrounding the new secret Lair announcement that Wizards of the Coast put out there yesterday. It's specifically in regards to one secret Lair like that is really riling people up. But when you look at it overall, it looks like across the board, there are a ton of people who are unhappy with this. And it becomes most evident when you look at the main Magic Reddit. Understand, this is the place where people go, yay, hooray for... I mean, they complain about aspects of the game, but that's the most hooray Wizards thing there is out there. They get their own spoilers. They're fully on Wizards' side, and they delete a lot of things that, basically shine a bad light on Wizards of the Coast. It's the place to find the most hardcore fanboys. Wizards can do no wrong. But the top post. It's in the couched language where it's not very harsh, but this just shows you the top post on the main Reddit. The title says, "I don't understand why secret layers keep getting worse." And that's absolutely what's going on. We're going to talk about the worst secret layer ever made. And afterwards, I'm actually going to show you a couple of cool secret layer cards because, you know, we're going to be fair. There's actually some fun concepts and I don't want to go, yo, this entire thing sucks without highlighting some of the really cool cards that I would genuinely like to own myself. So let's start out with the Tire Fire. Take a look at the most insulting secret layer ever made, my friends. This is the Lord of the Rings secret layer. Now, don't let the image fool you there. Don't take a look at those little shooting stars and go, wow, it's 4 rares. If you actually take a look, you go, wait a minute. This is 4 cards that are in print right now in the Lord of the Rings set, aren't they? Yeah. And they're just uncommons. Oh no, friend, they're not just uncommons. 2 of them are uncommons. 2 of them are commons. The slip on the ring, right? And the terrace are both commons. The other 2 are uncommons. And these are in sets that are in print right now. If you wanted to buy these cards individually, you could do it for 40 cents. Or if you wanted to go foil, like 80 cents, bro. And this is a 30 US secret layer for 4 cards that are currently in print, are just commons and uncommons. And also, an extra layer of bafflement comes from the fact where you go, wait a minute. Like, aren't you doing a collector's edition of this backsheet artwork? So how are these not included in it? Like, do they have other alternate free, and also they're just screenshots. They have other screenshots in the set itself. What makes these special? And this secret layer is illustrating something else. People are bending over backwards also to justify its existence. Like, most people are railing on it, going, this is pure garbage. Why would I buy this? This is straight up offensive that it exists. But there are some people who are like, well, you know what? It could be a good secret layer. And the same point keeps coming up. What if they made the One Ring the bonus card? This is like Stockholm Syndrome level stuff, bro, where literally it's all garbage. But what if the one card they weren't showing us makes up for all of it? And it's like, what if my husband stops sleeping with all those women and secretly loves me tomorrow and comes back and my marriage is saved? Like, it's that level of, are you... No, honey, he doesn't love you. And Wizards of the Coast doesn't love us. So you're not going to get a One Ring in this, boy. You're absolutely not. It's not going to happen. And even if you do, it doesn't justify it because all the other cards are worthless. So it got a One Ring. Yeah, the what? So they're selling it to you pretty much for straight the market value and slapping some commons and uncommons onto it. This is a how big a sucker are you test. That's what the secret layer is, and it's designed to pull in people who are Lord of the Rings fans who don't know anything about the card game and don't know that these are garbage, common, uncommon level nonsense that absolutely shouldn't be a secret layer. Now, let's take a look at something really cool from the secret layer. Take a look at Sweary Tiny Bones. This is hilarious. I absolutely adore this concept. And the flavor text talking about that Tiny Bones doesn't actually own a scooter like in canon, but wouldn't it be cool if he did? That is a hilarious idea, right? So that's fun. And then just on the epic level, take a look at this Wheel of Misfortune. This artwork is absolutely just astounding. I love it. It looks so good. It feels like intense eldritch magic. I love the vibe of it. But my friends, those are some cool cards from the secret layers. And wait, what? Hold on, what's going on down here? This video is sponsored by Alpha Clash. Now, let's fly to good times. Ignore that I have no legs! Alpha Clash is a fun new TCG that's based on the idea of superheroes being birthed into the world as the result of a scientific calamity. Now these crazy super beings are drawn to fight with each other for supremacy. This causes huge problems for mankind. They end up enlisting their best and their brightest and giving them the best gear. When I played this game, turns out that the humans can definitely get the job done. They were able to take me down even though I was a gigantic, beefy muscle Superman. Alpha Clash brings some interesting tweaks to familiar card game mechanics. It's the first game I've played where when you get attacked, you get to hit whoever's attacking you back, and that fundamentally changes how combat works in the game. The gameplay is fast-paced, and I absolutely wasn't expecting to be cursing out a pair of binoculars, but they went the distance, and I leveled part of a city attempting to destroy a pair of binoculars. I never thought I would say that, but here we are. The foils for the game look absolutely sweet. Alpha Clash comes in flavors you already know and love. A 2-deck starter kit, where you get to take Magnate, the ultra-powerful, and face him off against Moxie, the binocular user who somehow still manages to win. It's also available in booster packs and booster boxes. So head on over to alphaclashtcg.com and grab yourself some Alpha Clash today. I have had a lot of fun with this game. Big thank you to Alpha Clash for sponsoring this video.